Hello, good evening, everybody. How are you today? Okay, welcome to Finet SG with Xian. And today's episode 6 is on mature and stable companies. So, my personal life motto, if your life is worth living, then it is worth planning for life. So, this is me, I'm Xian, and I'm in the business of investment risk management. So at the age of 25, I was already a client with Unicorn. And with $25,000 assets at that time, I amassed to close to $200,000 assets, thanks to the partnership of Unicorn. And due to two trigger events that happened in my life, I decided to dedicate my life to health, relationship, and wealth. And you can find it in Unicorn. That's why I went into the business of investment risk management of Unicorn. So this time I would like to share with you, I will shorten our weekly sessions to 20 to at most 25 minutes because I feel that only 2 points is important for us to take note on a weekly basis, especially as I'm here to produce very nice insights for you guys. But the bonus remains only in some chapters. Okay? Disclaimer, always I need to share and I need to re-emphasize on this is always on informational only. Any advice, please come to me directly. All right, let's begin proper with always the question to ponder. How do you go about deciding how much you are going to invest? We begin with the economy update. Okay, looking at the skinny bikini babes, how would you want to decide on doing this if you were at the shoreline and then it starts to recede like this? This is actually a picture of Aceh, Indonesia in 2004. So let's take a look what happens when the shoreline recedes drastically. So my friends, when the water retracted, it means tsunami is coming. Not all the time tsunami is coming, but when it retracts suddenly is when it starts to have a very, very big indicator that something bad is going to happen. In the sense, 30-meter tidal wave. Imagine that 30 meters. It caused 230 deaths for this tsunami in 2004. Okay, what is the link? Because this receding, the shoreline that is receding is about this great divergence between the financial market and the economy. As you can see from this source, OECD, this is a composite leading indicator that leads the economy. So most of the time, this indicator is able to precede the stock market. So if you see the economy that is already going down onto the lowest for 2009-12. So we are expecting the financial markets, the stock market to also do the same. But what is happening right here in 2019, for this graph is 2019 or January to April 2020 this year. So you can see the leading indicator did go down. And MSCI All World Index is a stock index for all the world, developing and non-developing countries. They also collapsed together. But after that, you see a 24% rebound in the April 2020. And now, as of today, it's already gone back to break even. What is this great divergence going to be called or going to indicate to us? Is that if we take note of this, it's going to cause a greater divide between the rich and the poor. And you will hear me saying this a few times because this is the main point. Okay, if the economy is going further down and there's an injection of money, then there is a very high chance that it will cause further divide. And I will share why in the next slides. Okay, so on this seesaw tilt, I'm going to talk about what it means to be on the left side of this situation, which is the recession that is happening already, and we can see it. So the optimism in the US, how come there is an optimism? Because we are reopening the economy, right? So this is the slight optimism, but we already see heavy losses. And what PM Lee has already shared with us, Mr. PM Lee from Singapore, that we are prepared for unemployment. So job losses, I won't repeat again because in the past episodes I did. It's causing massive disruption. Okay, the recession is still on its way. It hasn't stopped. So with this optimism of reopening the economy, the only risk we see is that there is an increase in the cases of COVID-19 again, which causes a second lockdown. So what happens after this when the companies have completely cleaned out their cash flow? So it will be almost sure that our recession is going to be worse than 2009 crisis. So it will not be called recession anymore. Okay, so that's the difference. And secondly, there is a geopolitical tension and civil tension that I will explain also later in the next slides that is causing us to face a possible risk of a sovereignty crisis. And on the right side of this seesaw tilt is this excessive printing of money, unlimited printing. At this point in time, G20 has already printed $5 trillion to help to cushion this divergence. This causing the divergence actually, but cushioning the economy. It's not helping to spur the economy. And I will share with you why. Because where do you think the pumping of money goes to? It actually goes to the asset markets. It will not go to the man out there in the streets. That means it will not help you with your unemployment rate. But it's going to the asset markets. And what will happen then? Then we are in for this zero-sum game in the investments. Like it or not, we will become players in the investment game. Simply put, if you can understand this, if you don't play the investment game, okay, and you have your own friends and families choosing the right companies, then all this excessive printing of money will also, using the fund flow theory, go to the companies that have quality. And that's when you see an inflation. So your cash, your gold even, may not be safe because your cash will not increase, but everything else will increase, but your own cash. So like it or not, whether you play this game or not, you will still face the effects of it. And it's a negative effect on you. So this is what we're talking about when we mention on printing of money. So looking at what happened during the geopolitical tension, one of it is on Mr. George Floyd. As some of you may know, it was this case where this African American was just drunk at that day, and he wanted to buy cigarettes from the store, convenience store. With the 20 USD that he paid, he walked off, and then the shop owner actually asked him, realized or suspected that it was counterfeit money. And that's where he chased after the African American, Mr. Floyd, for the money. And obviously he resisted. He said, no, I didn't. So after calling the police actually arrested him and he resisted a little bit some more. And that's where police got really aggressive with him and tried to arrest him, handcuff him, pointing a gun at him and knelt on his neck. So this was the highlight. After 4 minutes, he pleaded 16 times, and yet the police didn't stop kneeling on his neck. And 9 minutes later, when the ambulance finally came, he was pronounced dead at a hospital. So it was this aggression, and I believe this is the outcome of the rich-poor divide. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're expecting further desperation from the economy, which will further divide this situation. Then how are we going to take care of the situation from now on in this environment. As we ponder on making money, of course, in investment is making money at least to hedge against inflation. I would like to take a second to really understand what we're going to do with the money that we have when we make them. Because capitalism is good, great. It drives innovation. But what do we do with the money? Is it really for our own self-gratification only? Or how are we going to do this? I would like to quote something from Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. Cleverness is a gift. Kindness is a choice. So when cleverness is a gift, it's quite easy because it's a given, right? So kindness is a choice. What are we going to do when we are trying to make money? Or what are we going to do when we have friends who are leading themselves into a clueless area of the investment game? So I would like for you to ponder, what can we do in kindness in situations like this? Either we reach out to them or at least bring them here to be exposed to the knowledge that I can share constantly here on a weekly basis so that they get more exposed and understand what they can do to make better decisions. So that's something. All right, then we have a conflict in Hong Kong where China released a law and says that the security law will be somewhat closer to China over time. So US is protesting because, yeah, this is against human rights or against this one country, two systems general rule that we were started with. So this kind of tension is causing further divide between US and China. So when the relationship worsens, then you'll be added on top of the COVID-19. Just that the news of COVID-19 overshadows this kind of situations. So a big highlight to this. How is it affecting us then? This one, I will keep it short. So I will use Singapore Airlines. So for cyclical companies, all right, as we can see, it will definitely go lower than the world index. Just now we looked at the world index. So SIA, for instance, has gone down lower 44%. When it rebounds and it doesn't rebound as high anymore. So overall, they will still see the drop in 35%. So there's cyclical growth that they're unable to rebound back to where it was, especially when the economy has not recovered. Versus a structural growth company, which is Cadence. In this sense, is a design firm, a software designing firm for industries. So when it fell, definitely it is not immune to the economy when it first got hit. So it goes down and even lower than Microsoft in this sense. Microsoft was only 16%. But when it rebounds, that is the amazing part out of it. It's actually at 70% with an overall increase of 30%. In this situation, my friends, imagine that this is the year-to-date performance in this situation. So there is a difference when you move your assets to something more powerful. All right, then we move on to this case study that we have talked about in terms of stable and mature companies. So for some of the friends here, 4 types of companies I've talked before, and today we are focusing on mature and stable. Then before we go on, I ask you this, is it a good time to buy into mature and stable companies? So the category of mature and stable companies, which I will explain much in detail much later, is mainly because they are not disrupted by businesses that will cause them to lose their ground in market share, but also they are not disrupting other businesses that allow them to gain the market share. So basically, they will be following the economy growth thereabouts between 3 to 4%. They are considered sluggards. Peter Lynch is also another renowned investor besides Mr. Warren Buffett. He wrote a book in One Up Wall Street. He mentioned buying a stock without research is like playing poker cards without knowing your cards. So when you don't do your research and understand what is this category, how would you actually want to stay invested in an arena of 10 years? Okay, it's also the same if you hold on to a card that is not very helpful because it will cost you an opportunity cost. That means if you could have earned a lot more if you have let go and bought something else. So let me ask you again, is it a good time to buy into mature and stable companies? Okay, there we look at McDonald's. Okay, after identifying what type of company this is, of course, McDonald's belongs to mature and stable companies already. It has already received 4 times gain ever since the last crisis. And due to this year-to-date issue with COVID-19, it went down to only 3.3 times. So basically, the growth is not much, but it's kind of steady. It used to be a fast growth company, all right, but it went into a very mature state due to the fact that it's already saturated almost the entire world, unless Mr. Elon Musk can bring us to Mars. So that is something that we can ponder about. Looking at this, so we have seen growth ever since the last crisis, about 4.2 times, which I've mentioned to you. And to give you a better reference, let me bring you to a company on structural growth, which is Microsoft, so that people are more familiar with. Microsoft has grown about 12 times. So imagine your assets at 100K, so 4 times versus 12 times. Which one will you pick actually? Interesting, right? And I always like to hear from this man here, Mr. Warren Buffett. Selling your winners and holding your losers is like cutting flowers and watering the weeds. Something for you to ponder about as usual, because in terms of mature companies, yeah, this could be it. Then what can we do? 2 things. And today I will share something slightly different. Coming back to this question, how do you go about deciding how much you are going to invest? As an investor, what can we do now? We have to seek higher grounds. Simply because there is a tsunami that is coming. Okay, we're looking at cash and gold, but sooner or later, when there's overprinting of money, even the cash and gold could be washed away via inflation, which is the tidal waves after the printing of money, which is why the second option is also very important, high quality structural growth companies. The amazing thing is that Mr. Warren Buffett's philosophy even needs a tweaking now, because these highly quality structural growth companies may not go into margin of safety. So in that case, we have to tweak the philosophy already. Then what is the second thing that we can do? I will share in the next episode, my friends. But last but not least, really, I really want to share with you that crisis will always be over. It's just when is it over, and are you willing to take the chance now? So 2004, Aceh, Indonesia was looking like this. 10 years later, it comes back to this. So I urge you to consider, my friends, when it comes to asset allocation, either do it very promptly at this point in time. If not, you will miss the boat and you need to wait for another 10 years, perhaps. Okay, so this part on the services that we have in Unicorn that will help our clients to do proper allocation, asset allocation. The most important point I would like to make here, our investment philosophy is that we invest in integrity. So whatever we recommend to you is already something that we are investing to ourselves. So we will know very clearly where we are heading to, and putting our money inside the portfolio also help us to feel the authenticity of our research analysis. So in terms of asset allocation, this is what I would like to drive across in terms of the point of our services. Okay? Last but not least, when we don't know the reason why we do things, when you come here for the webinar or conference, the things that we do will never become ours. So my friend, over here, I love to emphasize on the word application. Whatever you picked up today, share it with your friends. Help them to understand perhaps it's something that they will be interested in as well. Okay, and allow them to be exposed and start to make decisions along the way, because it's going to be a long haul. Long haul means 10 years. It could be 10 years, my friends. All right, next episode will be next Tuesday at 8 p.m. on a weekly basis. So economy updates, financial updates, definitely. It's a must for me to share with you. The ST engineering for mature and stable companies. So that will be quite exciting knowledge for us to go through. Last but not least, to share in a summary what I can do for my friends and some of my clients who are already here. Advisory on cash flow management and budgeting. Definitely asset allocation so that you can maximize and optimize your resources. Most importantly, advisory on asset allocation to optimize for returns on investments. These are the two things that I can do for you, for your loved ones. All right, thank you very much, guys. I will see you next week. Next week is on ST Engineering, is where my father used to work. Okay, if there's anything you would like to know in detail, please contact me directly, or you can reach out to my colleague, Major Shirley. If not, you can register here or for episode 7. And let us know if you like a recurring invitation so that we don't have to keep asking to register. Okay? In other words, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you next week.